Okay, we're live. Hi, Abby. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
All right.
I am just looking down for 1 second. I'm just looking at us on Facebook here on my phone. So if you have any comments or questions throughout, please feel free to add them and we'll respond back.
All right, Abby, the question today is why is there hate crimes and why is there violence against strangers, right? Because there is this horror in Colorado Springs, this attack on this nightclub.
Yeah. And before we get started, if I could just say that my heart just really goes out to like from the deepest part of my soul, anyone who was there and experienced it, anyone whose families are connected with that event, and just the whole LGBTQ community. I mean, it's scary enough, and then adding safe spaces, violence in safe spaces is really horrendous. So I just wanted to just take a moment to give my heart.
Yeah, same for me, right? Just it's horrendous. So let's just talk about it, right? So there is what I notice with human beings, right? Anytime something that we do not know arise in front of us, there is a fear of not knowing, right? It's a very big existential fear.
Not knowing.
Yeah, not knowing, right? I actually think that the moment we put on our ego, like our survival mechanism, was the first time in our life where we experienced not knowing. So at the age of 1 or 2, we encountered something and we had enough presence to say, well, I don't know it. I don't know what that is. That's a problem because I don't know. And that had us go to the survival.
Wow.
So every time in life we encounter something we do not know, that profound existential fear gets reactivated. And survival, and it occurs as a danger. And as you very well know, you can either freeze, run away, or attack. Right? So those hate crimes, this violence against the strangers, against the difference, against something you do not know, that's the attackers.
Wow. I haven't thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a totally survival mechanism. You see, if you're gay and you are somebody that doesn't know, doesn't have any capacity to be with a different.
Wow.
Then he has the option to attack.
Wow.
Right? Because it represents a danger, right? It's like COVID, right? So people that could not be with not knowing where it came from and not knowing what was the source of it exactly, this danger, then they attack by creating conspiracy theories.
And there were lots of attacks on folks of Asian descent during that time for the same reason.
Yeah. So if we look, just so that we can at least have a context for it, right? When we are very, very young, 1 or 2, right? The design, I always tell that story, and I'm going to say it one more time for everybody, is that imagine your soul, you are in a soul academy, your job is to learn, to go back to the divine, right? And at one point in this academy, outside of time and space, you need to go to a master school, a really high-level school, so that you can really learn about love, right? You need now to go to that specialized school, and that school is called Earth. So you incarnate, and all of our purpose in being incarnated here is to learn love, right? To be in love, to come from love, to exist in love, 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 love all the way. So the design of the school is you incarnate, you get into your body, and very soon after your birth, you forget who you really are. Otherwise, you cannot play the game.
Mm-hmm.
If you knew that it was a game, and if you knew that it didn't really matter, that everything was an illusion, and who you really were was so exquisitely love, well, you wouldn't bother.
That's so true. You wouldn't be able to be fully invested in that game.
So we forget who we really are, and that's I want you to take a second to let yourself experience the abysmal terror of not knowing who you really are. That's the first one, right? That's the first terror. I mean, it's like you're a loose sheep in a storm with no engine, no sails. So most people's life are busy trying to survive, right?
Yeah.
So if you encounter something you do not know, the terror is right there.
Wow, that is very true. And terror is a good word.
From a different religion, different culture, different skin colors, different sexual preference, different anything will reactivate that fear, that terror. Now, it doesn't condone it, it doesn't justify it.
Mm-mm.
But one more time, we need to educate ourselves so that that doesn't happen. It's not so much for me a question of for making a law that there is no gun, or because, you know, even in France, we don't have the right to have guns. And there was this horrible massacre in a nightclub 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So there is always one person that will find a gun and go and shoot everybody.
They want to, they'll find a way, right?
More often in the States, but it's not the law that will just have this problem disappears, and education.
Yeah.
Because even in our level, right, Abby, look at when you go to a party, you meet a new person that you do not know. And if you listen to your mind, you will see you're trying to compare that person to somebody you already know. Oh, she's like so-and-so. Oh, he's like so-and-so. And what do you do? What is your work? Are you married? Are you single? Are you, we want to learn.
That's so true.
So that we can put it somewhere where we know.
Yes. Wow, that is so true. That is so true.
So there is a scale, right, of survival. We would never go to a massacre, to killing other human being, but it's just a scale. It's the same phenomena at different level of intensity.
Right.
And it is just a question of education. And I'm not talking about traditional education. I'm talking about intelligence, emotional intelligence, love intelligence. I don't quite know how to call it.
I like that love intelligence. I like that a lot. Mm-hmm. Well, I was just going to ask you, Sophie, like, just in your opinion, you know, or your experience, because you've worked with a lot of folks, right, who have been in a lot of situations of life, and you've encountered some people that have people that are not bad, but that have done bad things, right? And so what do you think moves someone to that level of violence? Like, just in your own opinion or your own experience, like, how does someone get to that point of that level of violence, do you think?
It's not, you don't get to that point. It's just the best way to look at it is the scale of consciousness of David Hawkins, right? He created at the low level, it's not a hierarchy of value, it's a hierarchy of consciousness, right? So at a certain level, you arrive at the level of love, meaning that you know that the priority, the most important, who you really are is love, right? At that level, then you don't have option for violence, for division, for wars. at that level, it's a high level of consciousness, right? But any level below that, anger, resentment, humiliation, boredom, depression, meanness, all those levels below it, envy, jealousy. On this low level, it makes sense that violence is an option.
So there's like a point in that level of consciousness where violence doesn't occur as something
No, you see,
so bad.
like, for example, right? For me, if I walk down the street and I have a thought, I am not that thought. I have a thought. And those thoughts are automatic, right?
Yep. Yes.
And I will have a thought like, oh, what a jerk. Right? Somebody nearly runs me over, whatever. The fact that I had that thought against who I really am is so painful to me.
Yeah.
It's so inconsistent with who I really am. Somebody was telling me the other day, oh, well, is he in hell or in purgatory? I said, I don't think you should hang on to those ideas, archaic ideas of 2,000 years ago. I think you should just imagine being like that, a space where the only thing there is love. And then put against that space any mean, ugly, aggressive violence you've ever done in your life and see how you'll feel. That's hell. We experience it as human beings. We feel guilty. We feel terrible. We feel, right? When
Absolutely.
the shame, I mean, it is one of the most terrible feelings to experience, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, it really, I consider that hell. Just that experience is so heavy.
It's insufferable.
Yeah, absolutely.
I used to have a really bad temper. It's gone because I couldn't stand it anymore.
Yeah.
Right? What had me give it up is that when I saw the impact it had on others, I just couldn't live with it. So it's this education in awakening that had me transformed.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
So I'm not saying to condone anything or to not impose consequences, right, for people behaving that way. I'm all for consequences. You always reap what you sow, but not with hatred, with compassion, because they're failing the exam at the school called Earth. And there is consequences. There are consequences much bigger than what we can even imagine for them. But if we react, with violence, violence always calls for violence, right? It cannot be any different. It's difficult, right? Non-violence, that is the school of thinking of Gandhi, non-violence. It's one of the most courageous, difficult school to adhere to. Non-violence.
And it has so many layers because violence it gets more and more subtle, and I think that what's powerful about that teaching of nonviolence is that you can really look for it in your own life and you can test it. I mean, I've tested it since we've talked about it. How does my life shift if I don't react to this? That's a form of violence. My reactions are a form of violence. And you can really watch. It's amazing. You can really watch what happens, even in your thinking, when you don't react to the violent thoughts, like you said, like calling someone a jerk in your head. It's really amazing. So it might be a good practice to test at home, like where are you still violent and really watching it, even if it's subtle.
And what helps me the most is that it doesn't exclude the consequences. This is what people forget, right? I'm not saying, well, let somebody shoot 25 people and harm 25 and kill 5. I'm not saying that at all without having consequences, right? No, there should be consequences for sure. But it will not stop until all people are educated in love. Because whatever you worship is what you get in life. So if you worship being righteous, being better than others, hatred, that's what you'll reap. And the only thing we can do is start with us. Starts with us. So everybody, you might have seen on the Facebook page that I have a course starting on the 23rd of January. Okay, this is what the course is for. We need to disentangle everything that is not love in you. So check it out and come and play with us. The world is in really dire need of love.
It really
and
is.
the more of us worshiping love, then we will create a loving reality, right?
Absolutely.
That's why I called the course Beautiful You, Beautiful Life. We always reap what we sow.
Yeah, Sophie, and I'll just say to anyone who hasn't taken it, and honestly, even if you have done your disentanglement, this is a really great opportunity to do a refresher. It's because the videos are recorded, and then Sophie is offering very generously live coaching calls for 14 sessions. So if even, I mean, I'm excited to do it again. It's be my third or fourth time. I'm ready to do it again. And
something new all the time. Oh, by the way, we must do a reviewer tab. We didn't do that.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. And everyone, if I could just say about this course and about this education that Sophie's talking about, like, it is really easy to put up with, okay, it's okay, it's fine. I'm reacting to this, I'm not happy with that, I'm angry at this, and just kind of put up with that life. Trust me, I have my own experience. And I'll say that this process of disentangling, each of those moments where I put together something that hurt so much that I could go back and feel it and disentangle it. Now I have a map. I can really, like, truly, and I learn more constantly, but I can go back to that moment and say, oh, I'm doing that again. I'm hurting from that place again. And I'm repeating that same pattern again and again. And being able to do that, it just frees you up so much in life. I literally can't speak highly enough of it. So come join us. It'll be a lot of fun.
All right, I'll lead it just for you, Abby.
Thank you. I know, I feel like it's for me.
And Dima, who is in every single course I'm leading. Dima, welcome to the Beautiful You course. I'm so happy to spend this time with you. All right, everybody. If you have questions, please don't hesitate.
Yeah.
And we will see you next Monday.
See you next Monday, everyone. Be well.
Oh, do you want to see if there is any comment? I don't think so.
Yes, I will. Let me see. Oh, hi, Kimberly. So nice to see you here. I don't see any comments, but thank you for those of you who are here with us.
Okay, great. Okay, much love, everybody. Bye. Bye, Abby.
Everyone. Bye, Sophie.